2004 Barry Bonds was on another level offensively, batting .362 with a .609 on base percentage, 1422 OPS, and, get ready for it, 232 walks to 41 strikeouts, including an obvious MLB record of 120 intentional walks. This is ludicrous, right? But for one of the game's all-time best hitters that was hopped up on muscle juice, it honestly made sense in context. But one of the things he also did that season, 4 times might I add, was get intentionally walked 4 times in a single contest. And I'm sure this is something that a lot of people thought wouldn't be achieved again, at least not by somebody named anything but Ohtani, Judge, or Soto. However, in today's video, brought to you by Huel, we're going to detail how we actually just saw a guy get the 4 fingers 4 times who wasn't any one of these players, instead being a 22-year-old in just his second major league season. James Wood was facing off against the Angels in the rubber match between them and his Nationals, with him getting off to a good start in this contest by lining a sinker the other way for a base knock. This takes us to his second at-bat, which would certainly be a little bit more interesting, when he checked his swing on a 1-2 pitch, dribbling it towards second base, where Christian Moore made a 1-hop glove flip for the out, a pretty rare play in its own right. After Washington managed to tie the game at 1 later on in that frame, they would begin the next inning with a walk and then a line drive double. This brought leadoff man CJ Abrams to the plate, facing a relief pitcher, Jose Fermin, who managed to induce a 1-hopper to shortstop Kevin Newman, sliding to reach it before throwing to first without allowing the run to come in to score. Due up now was Wood, who at this point in the season is on pace for nearly 40 home runs and doubles with a .938 OPS. Needless to say, Angels interim manager Ray Montgomery wanted no piece of that, intentionally walking the big lefty for the first time that afternoon. And for a second it looked like it worked out, with Luis Garcia crushing a hard-hit ground ball to first base. But for some inconceivable reason, Nolan Schanuel decided to try to step on the bag before throwing home, even though there was a force out there, resulting in the runner scoring before a second one attempted to do the same thing, getting tagged out in an odd-looking play that ended up being reviewed, but not overturned. The Nationals' lead would not last very long, however, as just 2 batters into the 6th inning, the Angels had managed to tie up the contest on a flare single to right center field, before rookie Christian Moore managed to register his 5th go-ahead RBI in his first 16 career games, a line drive single to left center field. The yo-yo back and forth of run scoring would be in full effect in the 7th, as with 2 outs, Ryan Zefferjahn would walk the number 9 hitter, Jacob Young, before inducing a pop-up off the bat of Abrams, which ended up getting lost in the sun by Newman, tying the game in ugly fashion. Again, this now meant that there was a runner in scoring position for Wood, and again, this meant that he would be taking a trot down to first base, a move that ended up working out perfectly when Detmers came in to strike out pinch hitter Ahmed Rosario. The Angels would keep fighting in the bottom of that frame, managing to score the go-ahead run after Luis Rengifo tripled, and then Taylor Ward took a wild pitch. This meant that going into the 9th inning, the Nationals would have to muster some offense against closer Kenley Jansen with the bottom of their order coming up. But they would get a little help when Dalen Lyle grounded a ball to first base, where Schanuel saw it go off his body down the right field line, putting the tying run in scoring position with nobody out. After a successful sacrifice bunt, Jacob Young would tie up the contest on a ground ball up the middle into center field. Young would then predictably steal second before Abrams would crush a hard-hit ground ball to first base, this time fielded successfully by Nolan. This meant that Wood would have a chance to bat with the go-ahead run just 90 feet away, or he would have if the Angels would have elected to pitch to him, instead walking him intentionally for his 3rd consecutive AB. Now, I love to see superstars hit as much as the next guy, but I have to admit, in this context, it again worked out after Rosario took a cutter right down the middle for strike 3. Let's fast forward now all the way to the 11th, when Lyle came through yet again with a leadoff single, bringing Drew Millis to the plate, who managed to line a go-ahead RBI double down the left field line. After a pop-out, CJ would deliver the knockout blow with a 2-run triple into the right field corner. If you're keeping track, this again put a runner on third with 1 out. So you probably could have guessed what Montgomery would be electing to do in the ensuing at-bat. And you'd have been right, as he sent Wood to first base for the 4th consecutive time in the contest, with the move again resulting in Washington being unable to capitalize further. The Angels would then go down quietly in the bottom of that frame, ending the contest with a final score of 7-4. Now, my 2 major takeaways from this feat involving Wood are this. 1, it really does show how big of a shadow he cast in that on-deck circle, even at the young age of 22, as he became the youngest player in MLB history to receive 4 IBBs in one contest, by almost 4 years. And 2, it did actually end up being a pretty savvy strategy for the Angels, who saw the results work out pretty much as they intended every single time they did so. Little side note here, but this has become somewhat of a pattern for the Angels this season, as they have 30 intentional walks being handed out at this point, first in the major leagues, with the next closest being just 18. Overall, it was a strange game for the 6'7" lefty, but one I'm sure he ended up being quite happy with the result of. I've done a couple sponsorships in this channel in the past, and most of the time I'll sit down and I'll write a little script, but for this one, I kind of want to go off the cuff, because I actually use today's sponsor once in a while in my personal life. Huel. When I'm a little too busy to make myself a healthy meal or something like that, sometimes I'll drink a Huel instead because it really is like a complete meal. I'll read off some of the statistics here for you, but 35 grams of protein, 27 vitamins and minerals, and 7 grams of fiber.
On top of this, new users can use my code MTC for 15% off an order.
Thank you again to Huel for sponsoring this video and for making a nice product.